Ben, how big of a miss is this in terms of the expectations for Q1 revenues?
Look, this was something that was eventually going to happen. Apple makes such a great iPhone. The cycle is a lot longer, and we can't just rely only on emerging markets for growth of one single product. And so hopefully services and accessories and all of that stuff help bring up revenue for Apple, but it's still a small piece of the pie. So as I said earlier, Apple needs to innovate. Apple needs to find new revenue drivers that can't rely strictly just on the iPhone.
Yeah, some color there behind the $84 billion now expected in the fiscal first quarter. I guess Mike FactSet was around $91 billion, yeah. So that is a significant cut.
Yeah, so you're talking about annualized $25 billion in revenue that isn't going to be there. I'm not saying it's going to, follow through every quarter that way, but that's the way. I mean, I don't think the street initially on the first reflex is going to look through these numbers.
I think that was always a concern with Apple, that they would be caught in the crosshairs of this U.S.-China trade war, specifically with the consumer. And there are questions. I mean, I just covered a quarter that Nike reported 30% growth in China. So yeah. I think it's affecting U.S. companies in different ways, John. And I know technology, it's sort of mixed up in the supply and the demand side of the trade impact.
Yeah, and now you're in the unusual situation of doing exactly what you did, Sarah, which is looking at other companies and what they say and trying to check out Apple's story. Apple has been such a unique company for so long in that it really controls its operating system, its chip design, so many pieces of the equation right through retail that used to not be the case in China. They used to rely on third parties a lot more there than they do now. But now this opens up the door to a lot of other concerns that people might have about Apple's story in 2019, not the least of which is this legal situation with Qualcomm, where both in China and in many other jurisdictions, including Germany, Qualcomm is trying to say, Apple, you need to pay us for our intellectual property. Up until this point, Apple had really been seen to have a strong hand, if not the upper hand, in that they've got all of this cash, they've got a profitable product, and they weren't so much at risk. Now when there's a question about the strength of the iPhone in 2019, the upgrade cycle, and whether Apple even understands what its own revenue targets are going to be based on some of these trade tensions, maybe that's another headache that they don't necessarily want to have, but we will continue to see those legal battles play out in the coming days.